Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that would otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
Hey guys, welcome to my channel and welcome to another video. So in today's video, we are going to be introducing the Lindsay Clancy case to you guys here on the channel. This is a case that I don't know why I cannot get it out of my head. I am someone who suffers from major depressive disorder. Now, that isn't exactly the diagnosis that she had, but I just have to ask myself, and I keep asking myself, could this be real? Could she really have been out of her wits to the point that she could do such atrocities? So, I want to look into this case and I would like to give my commentary on this case based on the facts of someone who suffers from major depressive disorder and post traumatic stress disorder. Now, I've heard some of the commentary in reference to her and her care, and it was a lot going on, and it was a lot that was left out. So, what we're going to do is one of my favorite lawyers, online lawyers, um, she talked about the case. She's been watching the case herself. She's had a lot to say about it. And we are going to introduce her to you guys by allowing Lauren, the lawyer, to tell us how she feels about how things have went so far. So without further ado, let's jump right into the commentary.
I am a trial attorney and I have a lot to say. It's going to be a long video. Grab your snacks. The first thing I want to touch on is my favorite conspiracy theories. You guys, I don't know what field you are in, but honey, you've missed your calling. Why are you not in the CIA, the FBI? Because clearly you guys are talented. I know a good 99.9% of the internet believes that her husband Patrick actually did all of this. And
And you know, I find it interesting that she says this, and I find it interesting that this is the case. Reason being is, why did it have to be him and not her? Especially with all that has been put out here for us in a forensic type of way, and with all the information that has been put out here. And would they really do that? I mean, are there people on this earth cruel enough to do this?
having a wonderful time with all the demonstrations of you connecting the dot and putting the whole pieces to the puzzle together. But none of it matters, guys. Even if you're right, it doesn't even matter. Her own attorney, in his opening statement, told the jury she killed her kids. She did it. We're not here to argue that. She killed her kids, but she lacked the criminal mens rea. We'll get into what that is. She lacked the mental capacity to appreciate the crime because she was insane. So as much as you guys have wonderful theories, I mean, you guys are doing it. I am very proud of you. I know most of you guys have to be my followers because you're very smart. And I love the critical thinking. But it doesn't matter because that is not even before the jury. He's not even charged. Literally, the fact that her attorney said she did it and pointed at her tells you that the rest of his case to come is not even about pointing the finger at Patrick. Like, none of that is being presented. The prosecution hasn't pointed the finger at Patrick. Her lawyer's not about to point the finger at Patrick. He's literally going to be, mark my words, honing in on her mental state. All of his witnesses are probably going to be other mental health professionals to debunk everything that the prosecutors have been doing. Patrick is not on the hook. Not today, at least. Now, I can't speak for 10 years from now. But y'all, let's move on. I want to jump in by talking about the prosecution's theory, because there's no good trial, honey, without a good theory. The theory is the story. I've told you guys time and time again, an awesome trial attorney is an awesome storyteller. It's just as important as knowing the law, because you can know the law you want, but if you can't captivate your audience, if the jury is over there noggin no, playing Candy Crush, we got a problem. So their theory is that she deliberately created an opportunity to get her husband out the house so she can get rid of her kids. They're alleging that she was of sound mind the week before, the day before, the morning of, that she took her child to a doctor's appointment that morning, that she was communicating with the other health professionals advocating for her child, explaining the things her child was going through and why they were there that day, trying to get help for her daughter. Then when the pediatrician gave instructions on what they needed to do, she made sure she found a CVS that could accommodate that. Then when she told her husband go get that, she didn't place the dinner order. Because you know, ladies, we can't trust our husbands to place the dinner order. You know they're going to forget a sauce, condiment, side, utensil, something. So she even made sure that dinner was right and said, go get that too. And then come home. So they're saying, so she was fine all up until her husband left the house and then she became insane. That's their argument. And the prosecutors are basically painting a picture. Don't be fooled. She didn't just all of a sudden become insane when he left to go to CVS and grab the dinner.
And see, that's my question. But the fact of the matter is, a person can literally be triggered in a second. Have I experienced it with my own eyes? No. But I do know that it can happen. You can definitely be triggered. Is that what happened here? I'm not sure. But it's probable, and that's the story, as she stated, that her attorney is telling to the jury.
That we're going to have all her mental health professionals to come and explain to you how, yeah, she was going through postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety, and maybe sprinkling a little bipolar there, but she was not insane. She was not in psychosis. And she told her doctor the day before the unaliving that she had no thoughts of, going anywhere else beyond the clouds or to harm anyone else either. And then the day comes. What they are alleging is that she was going through mental health challenges and she made it to a breaking point. She didn't want to be with us anymore. But she also was a control freak and she didn't want to leave her kids behind either. So she was like, since I got to dip, bringing my kids with me. That is what they're saying she did. Do I think they're doing a good job?
Oh,
I'm going to save that for the end. Now let's jump to the defense theory. The defense is like, this is not a woman who was alleging that she had mental problems after she was arrested. It was like, oop, insane. Basically, she was begging for help wherever she could find it. And
that's the part that has me in the chokehold, guys. I mean, she saw doctors that were suggested to her. She saw a doctor that his mom or grandmother suggested. She, was in care for a period of time. And I think that this was a progressive situation all the way from, I think, middle baby to the last baby. Now, the thing I don't get is she never said that she wanted to harm herself or the babies, but then all of a sudden, bam. And then the thing is, when the husband, came home and found her, she was allegedly outside of the window. So it's like, okay, you did this crazy act and then you did actually try to hurt yourself, which to me, it almost, gives credibility to her story. Tell me, guys, how do you feel just with the little bit, which is almost nothing that you've heard? Because it is true, she was really kind of begging for help. She was consistently trying to see people and all the things going back and forth. I mean, it seems like she was fighting. And quite frankly, the harm that she did to herself, she is unable to walk at this time. So, I mean, It wasn't that she caused them harm and did nothing else. She really apparently did try to hurt herself.
And they failed her. Every provider, every healthcare professional, the state, everyone failed her. But the defense has a tricky, delicate dance because just because you have a mental illness does not mean you lack the mental capacity to know what you're doing is wrong. Okay, so we need to now get into what is the actual legal definition of criminal insanity, because you can be diagnosed with a mental illness and still know you're committing a crime. So let's talk about that. First semester of law school, shout out to Judge April Walker, who was my professor, explained to the class what insanity was in the best way we could understand in our first year law school mind. But I won't forget it. We were reading a case, and I forgot what the guy did, but he committed a crime. I don't remember what he did, but he committed a crime. And the police showed up. He didn't even understand why he was being arrested. He was like, "Why are you arresting me? Get away from me." He didn't even realize what he had did was wrong. He didn't even understand why they was putting him in the clanker. He was like, "Why am I here?" That's basically insane. You don't even know what you did was wrong. If you know what you did was wrong, you're not insane. If you have no idea what you did was even wrong, insane. You got to remember here that neither one of them, both sides, I know you guys have your theories, but you have to remember that neither side is saying that Lindsay didn't do it. They're both saying she did it. The state is saying she's criminally responsible, throw her in the clanker. Her lawyer is saying she did it, but she's severely mentally ill. She needs to be in a mental institution, not prison. What the state has to do when we have a crime of murder, you have to prove actus reus and mens res. Actus reus is the actual act. Whatever you did to kill somebody, right? We know what she did to her kids. That's the act. But you also have to have the mens res. That is the mental capacity to know what you're doing is wrong. And that is what this entire trial is about. Did she have the mental capacity at the time? Not the night before and
Another thing that I would like to add to this is I was watching a portion of the trial, and in the um, while the prosecutor was talking about what happened, she began to weep uncontrollably. For me, I mean, they say that insanity can come and go. But for me, for her to act out in the way that she did, to mourn the kids, and they were speaking about the fact that she committed the act. I don't know. That kind of took me back to the other side, because if she at one point was considered mentally or criminally insane and not knowing what she was doing, you should still have both of these extremes playing themselves out in your mind. Although you may realize at this moment that what I did was wrong, but the same individual who had the thoughts and committed the acts that caused those children to transition, that mentality should still be in her mind at this point, although it is not controlling her. Do y'all get what I'm saying? So I don't see how she is not terribly conflicted within herself. The fact that you are, feeling the hurt of what happened to me makes me feel like, was she really insane?
hour before, not an hour after, at the moment she was doing that act, did she have mental capacity? That is what this trial boils down to. Do I think the prosecutors are doing a good job? Who do I think is putting on a better case? The prosecutors are not doing a good job. I'm not going to even hold you. Her attorney is the better lawyer. You can tell that he's the better attorney when you watch this trial. The state, these bowls. I don't think it's coming off the way she thinks it's coming off. What she's trying to do is invoke sympathy from the jury. Basically, like, I'm wearing this bowl for Cora. I'm here to fight for Cora. Cora liked bows, and we're here to remember Cora. It's not coming off like that. Now, had I been representing Lindsay, I would have tagged the bows in my opening statement. Because I'd be like, you see that over there? Her and them bows trying to evoke sympathy. I know you guys are smarter than that, members of the jury, because I know you're going to think the reason why Cora likes bows is because she had a mother who combed her hair and made sure she had her bows, made sure she had all the bells and whistles, made sure she felt pretty. So when she walked out the door, she knew, baby, I am Cora. Her mother loved her, nurtured her, poured into her. Cora loves bows because of this woman right here. That's what I would have been. By the time I was done with her day one, you wouldn't have seen a bow ever again. Another problem.
So what she is talking about is the prosecuting attorney, a female, is wearing bows in her head every day in order to advocate for the daughter that is no longer with us. And I guess, like she said, she's trying to invoke emotion in the jury, but like she said, also, it's not coming off that way. It really looks kind of ignorant and juvenile. And that's my interpretation of how she described it. Um, I don't know how I would have taken that as a juror, but um, I just keep asking myself, and obviously I'm not at the point that this young lady was when she committed this act, but I just keep asking myself, okay, we are here. We are if I was in her position, I see that she went to the doctor. She went to countless doctors. She took medicine and all the things. I have taken depression medication before. And I do understand they said that depression is on one extreme and bipolar is on the other side and other extreme. So the medication for one may exacerbate the other condition if it's given to you and you don't have, depression. With that being the case, I know that people say they can hear things. I don't know anything about that, but what kept thinking in my mind is if you know that something is going on outside of your control, you feel like it's abnormal, you know there's something that has never happened to you before, it seems like you would talk to somebody about it, whether it's your husband, whether it's a medical professional, whether it's a friend, especially if it is something that can harm your kids. I just don't understand that part of it. Let me know if you guys, you know, get where I'm coming from, or if there's something that you feel could help me get that part of this.
I don't know if this is the difference between working for someone and not working for someone. And I am going to give the prosecutor a little bit of grace. They work for the state. They do not get to select which cases they try. We don't even know. These two could maybe not even agree with what they're up there saying, but they have a job to do. They don't get to select which cases they try or not, like I can. They work for the state. The state says, here, try this case, and that's what they have to get up there and do their best. But I invested in myself when I knew that I was going to be a trial attorney. I have spent thousands and thousands of dollars taking extensive trial courses. These got to stop. That was the first thing that they nipped in the bud in my very first extensive trial course where we went away for a week and had to try a crazy massive case at the end of the class. And ands are the first thing you ask me. What is happening? Another problem. Too much unnecessary testimony. What are y'all doing? Like, what are y'all doing? Are you literally just putting everybody on the witness stand and being like, here you go. One of these theories is going to work. Here you go. Well, y'all going to believe one
Well, basically, they're throwing spaghetti at the wall trying to see what sticks. Got it.
of these people. That is not how you try a case. Like, when Reddington said that's what you came to testify about? The fact that you was the cop that was standing outside the door while she was unconscious, while she was sleeping in the bed? That's what you was here to do? Waste our time? We are here to talk about, did she have the mental capacity at the moment she committed the crime? Did she or did she not? Why am I listening to 50 different law enforcement officers, why did you bore me to tears today about forensics? We don't need to hear any of that. We are here. We need to hear from the mental health professionals. We need to hear from her husband about her behavior, leading up. That's who we need to be hearing from. Don't put another cop, another forensic person up there. I mean, honestly, what did we need the autopsy for? We know how the children died. Are you not just trying to torture her? You trying to torture me? Like, think about the poor jury. Like, I deal in craziness. I'm a family law attorney and I'm also a personal injury attorney. My world is nothing but crazy. But can you imagine the poor jury having to sit there and see the things that they've had to see?
And then they have to, after all of this, go back to life and just they're expected to be some resemblance of normal. This case by itself could literally change their lives in a way that it'll never be the same. And that is crazy. Sometimes the things that we have to do in this world can change who we are forever. And that is almost sad.
Hear the things that they've had to hear. I heard that 911 call was awful. I heard them autopsy photos. Just the children was just and you know what people do in autopsy. I mean, could you imagine, like, the state? Are you well? Like, are you trying to mess up your own case? Miss Lady with the bows, if you are just within earshot of my voice, let me just give you a little bit of advice. Not that you asked for it, but you need it. The jury are people. And it just boils down to just understanding how people are just simply made up. We're not that complex. There are attorneys who have won trials that they should have lost. There are attorneys who've lost trials that they should have won. And it has nothing to do with the merits of the case. It all boiled down to being liked. They might just go against you because they can't stand you. Do you know how much I've gotten away with? Simply because I'm charismatic and I know how to try a good case. I know how to put on a good story. The jury, the judge, everybody be like this when I'm speaking. Holding on to every word. Okay?
I ain't gonna lie, she is a good speaker because I like her stories. I like her shows serving scandalous. Um, I like listening to her talk because she does have you holding on to every word.
The things I get away with, I'd be surprised. Because I'm like, oh, honey, I wasn't expecting this much of a victory. But then again, I know what I'm doing. Hey, wrap it up. Let's get to the good stuff. I cannot wait to see the case that Reddington puts on. I know he's going to bring some awesome expert witnesses that are going to slaughter every mental health professional that the state put on the stand. Like, did you trust these people when they were about to testify? Did you think that they were about to get up here and tell a good story that helped your case? That girl literally said, I don't care what the papers say. I'm saying, I was like, what?
I did hear that. The doctor, the main medical professional that treated Miss Lindsay, put something on the documentation that apparently she's saying was incorrect. However, it was the notation that she put into her file, right? With that being the case, um, when it basically the attorney was regurgitating the information, going over it with her, she said, no, the patient wasn't whatever it was. And she said, but your notes say something else. She says, I don't care what the notes say. I know she wasn't whatever it was. I can't remember the terminology they used. But I mean, that was crazy because what you mean? These are your whole notes. So you are here in a court of law stating that your notes, your medical and professional notes are incorrect. I mean, do you even know what malpractice is? I mean, come on, baby.
As soon as she got off the stand, whoever's over the medical licensure, it's the bar for attorneys. Whoever's over the doctors, I know they was ringing her line, ring a ling a ling. May I speak to Dr. Tough? Hey, baby, you in trouble. as a doctor, as someone who has spent majority of their life in school working hard to get where you are, how can you not care about your license? Like in a second, girl, you might have just messed up your whole career. Like what was in the, it was something about pressured speech.
Yeah.
If you made a typo, baby, that was a way to do it. You could have just said, "Oh, that's a typo on my end. I sincerely apologize. I will make sure that gets corrected. What I meant to put was no pressure speech. I understand the record says pressure speech, and you can do what you need with that. But please understand that in my testimony, what I meant to put was no pressure speech, and I apologize for the typo and the misrepresentation." That's all you had to do, and honey, I'm not even trying hard. Like that's just straight off the dome. Like you don't know how to wiggle your way out of something. But saying I don't care what the medical record says, whew, this is a wild case. But all in all, my empathy, my sympathy are with the children that lost their lives. Rest in peace to Cora, Callan, and Dawson. I want to know what you guys think, and be free to tell me more of your conspiracy theories. I love good critical thinking. I want to know what you think about the trial. I want to know, is the prosecution swaying you? If you were a member of the jury, whose side are you favoring so far? I know the defense hasn't started their case yet, but I want to know where you guys are right now. I can kind of guess. I'm sure I can guess. But I really want to know your honest opinions as a layperson, right? How is this trial relating to you? Because I'm watching it from a different lens, and I love to see what you guys have to say. I am having a wonderful time. You guys must know that I love.
Also, I know that I don't. I know they're 13 days into the case, if I remember correctly, and there's so much to unpack here. Um, the jury has a big responsibility, but quite frankly, I'm gonna be honest. I have no clue how I feel about this case because in my mind, I just cannot get with. And now, and I'm just a person out here, as she says, a lay person. I'm not a juror. I'm not, sitting in there looking at and listening to things, but I just can't in my mind get comfortable with the idealism um that she was able to do that, and the why of it. She said that that day. Now, her husband was gone, I think, less than an hour, or let's just say for the sake of this conversation, he was gone for an hour and a half. So, in an hour and a half, not only did she, according to her, start to apparently hear voices, but these voices told her consistently and very loudly to go and cause harm to someone that she loved. And she was able to um, get there, get to the fact of not turning her thoughts away from what the voices were saying and actually get to that point. That is a lot. It really is. And I don't know what else I can say, but wow. Tell me what you guys think as we end this. It's about another minute of video, and then we'll close this out.
Love you because I actually have a flight to catch. I'm going home to New Orleans for the weekend, so I got to go. But I'm also going to give you your coupon code to my press on nail company. And the guys, we have a huge launch coming in just a few weeks, and I'm so excited. Just know that every single nail currently on the website you will never see again.
So basically, the rest of this video, she's talking about that she has her hands in a lot of things. She has a praline company, a nail company, and then she's a very. She also has a show called Serving Scandalous on YouTube, and then she's an entrepreneur. She is that girl. Anyway, let me know what you guys think from what you've heard from her and whatever you know of the Lindsay. Um, what is her name? Lindsay Clancy case. Let me know what you feel. I'm still on the fence, y'all, but we're going to start taking a dive into this case. I'm going back and hearing some past things. Probably the past things are more so going to be summaries of each day's occurrence. And then we will, moving forward, look into uh, the defense's side of the representation. So let me know what you guys think. I'm still on the fence, guys. I don't know what I'm feeling yet, but what I do know is that I still don't have the ability to get there. So anyway, let me know how you feel. We will continue the conversation in the comments. Thank you guys so very much for taking the time to check out this video. I can't wait to talk to you in the comments, and I'll see you guys in our next presentation of Lindsay Clancy. That is a name. That's all I'm going to say.